Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Shad, and today we're here in a very different background environment. This is temporary until probably the end of the finals, so just stick with me for a couple of more episodes. Today I want to talk about the Game 2 performance. You saw the title. It is about the three-point shooting. The very miserable three-point shooting defense that the Nuggets played in Game 2 will be a highlight of this video. But before we get to all of that, I want to talk about some of my general thoughts about the game, because these are still full game recaps. I feel like obviously the Nuggets lost this game behind the three-point line. Once again, we got out-volumed, and once again, we got outshot. The Nuggets ended up shooting, I think, 11 of 28 from three, which is still 39%, but when compared to the Heat and their 17 threes made on 48% shooting, 49% shooting, it's just not up to par, unfortunately. 18 points that was left on the board in the difference between the three-point shooting. And it's huge when you look back at the game and some of the swing moments and some of the costly threes that the Nuggets gave up. It felt like every three was a dagger. Max Strus had an abysmal game one. He went 0 for 10, and this game he went 4 for 10, but he was the one that made the first 3 threes for the Heat in this game. We will definitely talk about those in a bit. Duncan Robinson ended up shooting pretty well, 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. Gabe Vincent had another really good game this postseason. By the way, he is going to earn a bag, and I'm really excited for him. And on the defensive side of the ball, the Miami Heat held the Nuggets to just 23 assists total. Now, this seems like a moot point, but it was specified towards Jokic because he only had 4. There were times where the outside actions were cut off for the sake of letting Jokic score 2 points, and he did end up with 41. He had 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Really, really, really good game from Jokic. The rest of the Nuggets just couldn't hit shots, couldn't get into their own rhythm. Some of the good things for the Nuggets, they did end up getting out to a 15-point lead. I think that is really important because that is a bright spot from this game, and the second quarter was that best quarter of the game for the entire team. I know Jokic ended up scoring 18 in the third, but that second quarter got us out to that lead, and we were playing like we were about to win Game 2. There were some good things for the Nuggets, obviously. It was only a 3-point loss, but it was a really demoralizing 3-point loss, and we'll talk about why with the 3-point breakdowns. Because right now I do want to focus on the Nuggets' defensive lapses, because I think they could be really emblematic of where this series could potentially go if this defense doesn't get at least a little bit better. On this play, the very first 3 of the game for the Miami Heat, it is a baseline inbound play for Max Strus. He'll come off the double screen onto the left wing. MPJ doesn't switch, so KCP has to run through the screens late. MPJ's unawareness leaves this 3 wide open for Max Strus. On this play, Strus will set a slip screen and head to the corner. KCP jumps out. MPJ does not commit to the switch. He's once again unaware of the movement, and we have another wide open 3 to make it 10-2. Another Gabe Vincent shot, this time coming out of the corner, and Duncan will curl all the way to the paint. Christian Braun is going to follow him, even though Bruce Brown is expecting that to be a switch, and it's another wide open 3 for Gabe Vincent. And this theme of blown coverages and unawareness continues, not knowing when to switch and lazy contest. Kevin Love just does a simple flare out because no one communicates on who's going to get out to him after all the action and movement at the top of the key. I think the Heat did a really good job at making sure that MPJ was involved in actions, because I did say that, I believe it was during the preview video or after Game 1, but I have said that MPJ is the weakest defender to go after for this Miami Heat offense, and you can go at him in plenty of different ways. You can go at him in the pick and roll, you can go at him one-on-one, you can attack Michael Porter Jr. His strengths come when he has a one-track defensive assignment. Stay on the low block and get to whoever tries to get to the rim and try to alter/block their shot. He can do that just fine. It's when you involve him in multiple actions, make him make multiple defensive decisions while communicating, that's where you want him. That's where he starts getting lost. And we saw the plays I just showed you and a couple more in this game where Michael Porter Jr. is just kind of in no man's land. And that was a general theme for the entire Nuggets team. I think KCP did it a lot too. Aaron Gordon had a few times. Jamal Murray was stuck in no man's land. The Heat did a really good job offensively running actions and getting us moving once again and making sure that we have to communicate and switch properly, and we have to play tip-top defense against this Miami Heat team. Their offense is potent and they can put up threes. And if we're not going to contest at the 3-point line, we're going to lose the series. I want to talk about KCP because I think he had a very abysmal game on both ends. He only finished with 6 points, 6 fouls, and It was the worst KCP game I think I have seen all season long. The 6 fouls were just ridiculous. Some of them were touchy, but a lot of them were by KCP. A lot of them were his fault. And there were 3 of them on 3-point shooters. One of them, Max Strus, he kind of like swiped down on an end of shot clock heave from Max Strus at the top of the key and got his hand, and that was 3 free throws. He contested Kyle Lowry's late heave and ended up getting underneath him. That was 3 fouls. Like, KCP had a really out of head experience. He just wasn't himself. And it was really weird to see because he is the one with championship pedigree. He's the one that has been in these situations and knows how to stay disciplined. But I don't think he'll play like that again in game 3 because that truly was probably as bad as it gets for him. Michael Porter Jr., I think, also had his worst game on both ends in a very long time. He regressed fully back to rookie Michael Porter Jr. tendencies on both ends. There was that, I think it's going to be an infamous play whether the Nuggets win this finals or not, but that screenshot or that play where MPJ takes the mid-range and he has Jokic and Jamal Murray open in the paint, and you just like, you freeze frame it and you just start laughing because this is literally Michael never swing the rock Porter Jr. And while I do think that was a decent shot, and it's a mid-range from 6'10", Michael Porter, like he can get over whatever. He wasn't going to get blocked or anything, but it's just funny to see that tendency keep on popping out when it's time to, play more team basketball. I want to talk about some of the other good things that the Heat did in this game as well. And one of those, the main one being the adjustment of putting Kevin Love into the starting lineup. Now, I did predict that in the preview video that we would be seeing some more size just to kind of match up naturally against Aaron Gordon, even if it meant you were losing some of that skill in your starting lineup. And it worked. Aaron Gordon was, I think, a lot less eager to go into the rim or go into the paint against someone like Kevin Love, who was naturally just a size matchup. And while I think obviously Aaron Gordon is a better player than Kevin Love and could probably score on him if he tried hard enough, that's a lot of wasted possession. And that's probably what the Heat would live with, is Aaron Gordon trying to take all those possessions against Kevin Love. This adjustment allowed Jamal Butler to be Jamal Butler. This adjustment allowed Jimmy Butler to guard Jamal Murray for a lot of the game, and that was really a really welcome and effective adjustment because Jimmy Butler is strong and he's bigger than Jamal. He provides a lot of problems, and it also allows the two-man game of Jamal and Jokic to kind of be negated on those pick and rolls because now it's Jimmy and Bam guarding it, the two best defenders on the Heat, and they're just going to switch because Bam is comfortable in the perimeter and Jimmy Butler's strong enough to at least hold his own against Jokic. It's a good strategy, and it seemed pretty effective on all fronts. So shout out to the Heat. I think the Nuggets have a really good chance of winning Game 3 as well. But the Heat also are going back home. Role players shoot better at home, yada yada, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting Game 3. But that'll be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.